Good morning, Western Washington, and happy Sunday. I'm Matthew Fab with Western Washington Weather, and today we're going to take a look at the forecast for our heat wave coming up over the next few days and some potential rain and cool down coming up at the middle to the end of the week. So starting here with the satellite imagery, look at this. It's just a beautiful morning across Western Washington. No clouds at all, even clearing on the coast there. You can see we do have some smoke off the Bear Gulch fire there, but it's staying very localized within Mason County and along some portions of Hood Canal. You can see we have a few clouds over the North Cascades, but other than that, a completely sunny morning across Western Washington, which is really nice to see. You can see how green this area is all throughout the year, all these forests and everything. It's just really cool to see that. You don't often get to see that on satellite view in the United States, so pretty cool to see. Going into the alerts we have up right now, you can take a look. We do have a heat advisory in effect for most of the lowlands. You can see if I click here, we can see that heat advisory is in effect from 2 p.m. this afternoon until 10 p.m. Tuesday, and that is for highs in the 90s and lows in the 60s. And we're going to talk about that, of course, here in a couple of minutes. So taking a look at the overall pattern, why is it going to be so hot? Well, we have this ridge offshore here, and that is allowing us to warm up quite a bit. And you can see as we go through the day today and then into Monday and Tuesday, that ridging influence remains pretty strong there as we go into Tuesday, and that is what's causing those 3 hot days today, Monday, and Tuesday. And then as we go into the middle of the week, you can see how that ridge breaks down. And then as we go until Wednesday, we have some troughing to our north. That's going to allow us to cool down quite a bit. And then we're going to develop even more troughing to our north as we go into Thursday, Friday, and Saturday there. And this is likely going to bring some chances of widespread rain. So we're going to take a look at that here as well. So this is what we're looking at now, precipitation type. And you can see we remain pretty dry as we go all the way through Monday and then Tuesday and then even into Wednesday. Just a few showers across the area, but remaining mostly dry. But then take a look as we go into Thursday and we start to get some showers moving into the area or in the afternoon. And then those showers continue, but then as we go into Friday morning, we get some potential widespread rain across the area into Friday afternoon, and you can see there are more chances of rain behind that as well as we go into Saturday, though it's a little bit early to tell how this is all going to shake out. So definitely looking at some rain on Thursday night into Friday, through Friday into the afternoon as well. So it's going to be interesting to see what happens after that, but we kind of got all the things going on this week. We got the heat wave, and then we've got rain coming in to cool us down at the end of the week. So how hot is it going to be? Now, this is going to depend on where you are, but we're likely going to be pretty hot over these next few days. So starting here with today's temperatures, you can see from areas Seattle northward, you have highs in the upper 70s to mid 80s, maybe a few upper 80s mixed in there. On the coast, we have some offshore flow, so highs are going to be in the mid 70s to low 80s. So you see 80 at Quileute Airport near Forks, and on the immediate beaches, still likely in the upper 60s to mid 70s. So really nice weather out there on the coast. You can see from Seattle southward to Olympia, you have highs in the mid-80s to low 90s today. And from Olympia and Shelton southward to Portland, highs in the low to mid-90s. Then take a look around areas from Kelso and Longview down toward Portland. You have highs in the mid to upper 90s, 97 showing up there at Portland International Airport. And further south and toward the Willamette Valley, highs likely into the low 100s. And then going into Monday, you can see we warm up a little bit more the coast in the mid-70s to mid-80s. As those mid-80s are likely going to stay inland, but even on the beaches, you're going to have highs in the mid-70s. So really nice day up there. From Seattle northward, highs in the low 80s to low 90s. You can see east of I-5 is where you're most likely to get those upper 80s to low 90s, especially with this warm compressional flow here out of the Fraser Valley, and you can see up places like Linden and stuff like that near Abbotsford, BC, likely into the low 90s. And then from Seattle southward to Olympia, again, highs in the mid-80s to low 90s, hottest from Tacoma southward. And then from Olympia and Shelton southward toward Portland, you have highs again in the low to mid-90s. And then Clark County and down toward the Willamette Valley, highs in the mid to upper 90s yet again on Monday. And then we go into Tuesday, which is going to be the hottest day for the lowlands. You can see the flow switches back on shore and temperatures start to cool back to the upper 60s to mid 70s on the coast. From Seattle northward on Tuesday, you have highs in the low to mid 80s East of I-5, though, you have highs in the upper 80s, potentially a few low 90s in some of those mountain valleys. Areas near some of the beaches, though, remain in the upper 70s. And then from Seattle southward to Olympia there on Tuesday, you have highs in the upper 80s to mid 90s. I wouldn't be surprised to see a few places in some of the valleys. And from Tacoma to Olympia, recording highs above 92 to 93 degrees. You can see from Olympia down toward Portland, you have highs in the low to mid 90s. And then Portland itself around Clark County and Vancouver there as well, again in the upper 90s. So really hot few days down there. And especially from Olympia down toward Portland and the South Sound as well, remaining pretty hot. But then take a look at this huge change we have going from Tuesday to Wednesday. You can see there on Wednesday, highs on the coast drop all the way back down to the low to mid 60s. And look at the lowlands. We drop from the 90s to the mid 70s. So you can see Seattle northward highs in the low to mid 70s, Seattle southward highs in the mid 70s, and even around Portland, highs drop from the upper 90s to in the low 80s. So it's going to be very interesting, that change there as we go from Tuesday into Wednesday. And then you see going into Thursday, we remain similar to Wednesday's temperatures, and we cool down further on Friday with highs in the upper 60s to low 70s across the region with that rain moving in. So total differences in temperatures, upwards of 20-degree high temperature differences throughout the week this week. Now, this is something I really want us to pay attention to here, low temperatures this week. So we start with Monday here, and we have low temperatures across western Washington in the upper 50s to low 60s. Take a look around the metro area there. You have low temperatures in Seattle and Tacoma and Olympia in the 60 to 65 degree range. And then down in Portland and southwest Washington, those low temperatures are in the upper 60s. So this is something you really need to pay attention to, especially for folks who don't have air conditioning, which is still the majority of the population around here in western Washington. These low temperatures that are pretty hot in terms of what we get in the Pacific Northwest can make it difficult for people who have trouble with heat, especially when you have these low temperatures in the metro areas remaining in the mid 60s. And this is only going to increase as we go through the heat wave. So this is Monday morning. Then as we go into Tuesday morning, you can see a much more broad area of the region has those low temperatures in the morning above 60 degrees. You can see the metro area there, Seattle and Tacoma, likely having lows in the mid 60s, upper 60s for lows, southwest Washington and Portland, and even from Seattle northward, areas that are usually a little bit cooler have lows in the upper 50s to mid 60s. So this is something we definitely need to watch. And then as we go into Wednesday morning, that cool marine air is going to start to move in, and those lows are going to drop to the upper 50s to low 60s across most of the area. But even in the metro areas, it's still going to be nearing the mid 60s around Seattle and Portland. But then as you can see, as we go into Thursday and Friday, those lows drop to seasonable levels in the 50s. But again, remember, these lows here, that's part of why there's a heat advisory, is because these lows are going to be so warm. And this is something that is really difficult if you do have heat-related illnesses or if you struggle with it being hot. Just remember this, you're not going to get a lot of that relief that we usually get because of this heat wave. Now, this is for going from Tuesday into Wednesday here on the European model. You can see just this huge difference in temperatures in the afternoon highs there, especially for areas from Olympia and Tacoma down toward Portland, with those highs decreasing 20 to 25 degrees, and even across most of western Washington, those temperatures decreasing 15 to 20 degrees. So just a huge difference going from Tuesday into Wednesday there. And we'll look at this a little bit more as this forecast goes out a little bit further and we get a few more timestamps on it. But overall, you can see that trend is just 10 to 25 degree temperature drop for high temperatures between Tuesday and Wednesday. And you'll definitely notice that, as well as the clouds and stuff that brings in. And then just wanted to point this out as well. Even with it being warmer, the Bear Gulch fire is not expected to produce very much smoke. You can see this is smoke aloft, but it really isn't doing very much of anything. That rain really did knock it down. You can see it does get a little bit more smoke there on Monday, but overall not doing too much. We'll continue to watch this, of course, because this could always change, and these forecasts do change quite a bit. But for now, you can expect not a huge amount of smoke off the Bear Gulch fire, really only impacting the areas right around it. And that is something you can see here. So there again, there's the footprint of the fire. You can see a few more hot spots on the west side and on the south side with some of these northerly winds. We'll continue to watch this, of course, as this fire continues to grow up to 5,590 acres now as of the latest update. And when we look at our air quality map here on purple air, you can see kind of where that smoke is is relegated to. So areas around Union and Hoodsport there on Hood Canal, and then as you go up toward Lake Cushman, you can see where that really hazardous air quality is there. At that Lake Cushman sensor there, reporting 421, just now down to 352, but just incredible numbers of air quality there. And you can see how that has just continued to occur over these last few days, that you just get this air quality that is really, really hazardous. But most of the area not really reporting that. It is probably hazy at times with just it being summer, but you're not getting this smoke really outside of Mason County, and really central Mason County at that. So that's kind of the picture for the next few days here. And I just wanted to point this out as well. We haven't looked at it in a while, but this is the U.S. Drought Monitor released here on August 7th, data from August 5th, so just a few days old here. And it is really not a good picture for for all of Western Washington and for Eastern Washington as well. 100% of the state is under drought, and the Seattle metro area is under that D2 severe drought. The Cascades there are in extreme drought, and even the coast is in drought, including some of that severe drought for some of the northern coast there. So really just not a good thing to see, and this is only going to get worse as we go through August into September, and we're going to need a lot of rain to turn this around going into September and October and November. Really, sometimes you don't get this disappearing until you get some of the bigger storms in November. So we'll have to continue to watch this over the next few months here, but this is definitely not a good sign, and this does contribute to some of that loss of snow that you're seeing on Mount Rainier, just how much of a drought we're in right now. So we'll have to continue to watch this for sure over the next few months. So yeah, thank you all very much for watching today. Be sure to subscribe here to Western Washington Weather. Follow me on Blue Sky, on Twitter, and the Western Washington Weather Facebook group. We've got a lot to talk about over the next few days, so I hope you tune in and continue watching and subscribing. Thank you all very much for watching today, and I will talk to you all later.